Folks, you may have seen that lately I've been reviewing some top 10 fighting game lists from various publications like IGN and WatchMojo, and I decided instead of just throwing out criticism of other people's lists, it's only fair that I make my own list. This is going to be my personal opinion list of the top 10 fighting games of all time, and this is going to be very biased. I'm not trying to do any kind of like objective, this is the true best games ever made. No, I'm doing the 10 games that I like most personally. So this is just going to be my personal opinion. So feel free to yell at me in the comments, but don't get too mad, I guess, because this is just how I feel. This is not based on any kind of true objective ranking. But what do you say we jump right into the list? Alright, so coming in at number 10, I'm going to be going with King of Fighters 15. So, I talked about this on the WatchMojo and IGN list. A lot of people, I think, would put KOF 13 as their favorite KOF game. And 13 was my first KOF, but 15 was the first one where I really got serious and actually competed in tournaments in the game and like really put a huge amount of time in and tried to get good. And I really enjoyed the game. 13 obviously has some advantages, like 13 the graphics are incredibly good, 15 I think the graphics are, you know, a little bit average, but 15 improves in a lot of ways. Obviously the online is drastically improved from 13 and 14. 15 is also a little bit simpler to get started with. I feel like you can pick up a character and start doing cool stuff really fast. It requires a little bit less grinding, but the depth is still there. If you want to put in a ton of work and get really optimal, you can do that as well. So I think it's a game that is pretty easy to pick up, but still like has an old school feel, really fun to play. So KOF 15 coming in at number 10. All right, next up at number 9, I wanted to put Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R. So, you know, the big question, I guess, is why Accent Core over Strive? Don't get me wrong, I like Strive a lot, and Strive has really good online, but actually, Accent Core has really good online as well now that it has the rollback patch, and it has some things that I kind of prefer over Strive. Like, I think combos in general are just a lot more fun in Accent Core. The game also feels much faster, especially your movement is very fast in this game. It does have some annoying things, like the top tiers are really, really broken in this game, but, you know, as you might see in some of the later games on my list, that doesn't necessarily bother me so much. If the game is really fun and a blast to play, I think that really makes up for balance. I would rather have a fun game that's imbalanced versus, you know, a really balanced game that is a little bit less fun or a little bit more like toned down. I like to go crazy, and Accent Core is a very crazy game. This was my first Guilty Gear that I really put a lot of time into, and I really enjoyed it quite a lot. Once it got that rollback patch, I think it became a really amazing game. So if you've only played Strive, I highly recommend checking out Accent Core Plus R with the rollback now. It's really, really fun, and I think you'll be surprised just how fast and crazy old school Guilty Gear is compared to Strive. Alright, next up at number 8, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ. I apologize if this feels too low for some of you guys. I know I definitely owe this game a lot. This is one of the games that really helped my channel blow up, and I still like the game quite a bit. You know, I mean, it made my top 10. I think in general the game is really, really fun to pick up and play. I think it's one of the fastest fighting games for just jumping in and having fun, especially if you're a new player. I think if you're more of like a hardcore old school fighting game player, I think there are some issues that you might find with the game in terms of like character variety, maybe certain mechanics like Super Dash being a little bit annoying to deal with. There are some problems with the game. Also, the online is not very good. Hopefully we get that rollback patch soon. It's been announced, but we still don't have it. So there are some issues with the game, but I think overall you can't take away the fact that the game is super fun, super fast, and super beautiful and faithful to the Dragon Ball anime and manga. Like just the look of the game and the way that they put in all these references to things that happened throughout Dragon Ball Z and Super is really amazing. So they did a great job adapting the game, and I'm gonna put it here at number 8. All right, next up we got the classic Skullgirls. This was another game that I really kind of cut my teeth on it. This was one of the games that I played the most in tournaments. I was very serious about this game, and this game was really ahead of its time considering it came out like a decade ago. If you look at just how amazing the online experience is in this game, how beautiful this game's 2D art is, And sort of some of the things in terms of how the combo system works. It's very like intuitive and fluid, and you can pick up and start doing really cool stuff really fast. It also has some very unique features, like having a custom team size, 1 to 3 characters, or having custom assists. You can set any move that your character can possibly do, you can make as an assist. So there's some crazy and really unique and amazing stuff in this game. There are some problems with it. I think the game is very oppressive. Like if there is like a skill gap between you and your opponent, you really just don't get to play the game. So that's not fun for a lot of people. It's a very single player experience if your opponent is more skilled than you, so it can feel very frustrating. It can feel like you can't get any better because you literally just can't do anything. You're just juggled in a combo into a reset until you die over and over. So there are some problems with the game. The fact that it's so free and so open and you can do whatever you want means that you can do some really ridiculous and upsetting stuff to your opponent and make it so they can't play the game. So if you're into that kind of thing, the game is really good. And I think that if you just want like a versus style game, like with the team mechanics, they did a really amazing job. And you know, you can't get over the fact that this game is simply beautiful and really ahead of its time and has a great online experience. So Skullgirls, throwing it in at number 7 here. All right, next up at number 6, we're looking at Vampire Savior, aka Darkstalkers 3. It's really incredible how ahead of its time the Darkstalkers series was in general. The first Darkstalkers came out in 1994. Only a few years after Street Fighter 2, and it is so advanced, not only in terms of the look. Obviously, I think the character art is incredible. It still looks amazing today. Like, it feels like it hasn't aged a day to me, but also the gameplay was so ahead of its time as well. It has things like air dashing, it has like push blocking, guard canceling, it has multi super bar meter where every character has like a million supers that they can use, and you can have up to 99 meters, which is kind of crazy. But in general, this game is super fast, super rewarding, super fun to play, and all the characters are so unique. Every character has like a unique movement technique, like their dashes work differently and stuff like that. So every character feels really different, and yes, it is imbalanced. The top tiers are really broken, but you know, we got people like Mighty Mar winning tournaments with Anakaris, the worst character. So I think that if you're willing to put in the time, this game can be so rewarding to play. So I highly recommend checking out Vampire Savior. All right, next up, number 5. We're in the top half of the list now. I wanted to talk about Tekken 7. So let me just get the elephant in the room out of the way. Yes, Tekken 7 does not have good online. That is definitely the biggest bummer with the game. Not only are like the connections pretty iffy, like the game slows down a lot when you and your opponent don't have a perfect connection, but also it has to go through a crazy long load time every time you hit rematch. So that's really annoying. Let me just get that out. That's a problem. But other than that, I really, really love most aspects of Tekken 7. You know, this was the first Tekken game that I put a ton of time into, and I played it in tournaments and stuff, and I just found it to be such a rewarding experience. I think Tekken is probably like the ultimate game of the more time you put in, the more you get out of it, and you can just play forever and never learn everything about the game. And it has this really addictive feedback loop where like you play and then you lose to something that you've like never seen before. You're like, what the heck was that string? I had no idea what to do. So you can go into training mode, figure out how to deal with it, find the perfect punish. Then next time someone does it to you, you just wreck them, and it's so satisfying. But then you lose to something else, so then you're like, okay, now I gotta find the answer to that. So you're just constantly adding like bricks upon bricks to your game plan and your defense, and it just becomes so fun once it all starts to come together. And you're like, okay, I know the answers for dealing with my opponents. I know how to mix them up and you know, play neutral and stuff like that. It's so addictive and fun. So I can't wait for Tekken 8. Hopefully they fix the problems with the online, and then I can just have no reservations for saying that I'm a massive Tekken fan. But for now, Tekken 7, I think they did a great job, and I would recommend it to pretty much everyone if you can deal with those online problems. All right, next up, number 4 is gonna be Killer Instinct. You know, I was actually pretty late to getting into Killer Instinct. I only first played it a few years ago when we started running tournaments for it on my Twitch channel. And I was really blown away by the game. It's unfortunate that this game was Xbox exclusive for so long. I never had an Xbox One, so I couldn't play it till it came to Steam. But anyway, once I started playing it, I was really impressed. I didn't expect that I would like the combo breaker mechanic as much as I do. It can be a little annoying sometimes when like you block a dragon punch and you're like, all right, time for my huge punish, and then the opponent just breaks the punish and you're like, what was the point? So that can be an issue sometimes, but it's made up for by the fact that it's so satisfying when you call out your opponent's combo breakers with counter breakers, or when you effectively mix up your combo routes to keep the opponent guessing. It's just like an extra layer of mind games that start happening after the combo has already started. So you don't really see that in other fighting games at all, so it's a really unique experience. But also just the general gameplay of the game outside of the whole combo mechanic is so fun as well. It feels like, Street Fighter on crack or something like that. It's very footsies oriented. It's got, really good neutral. The walk speed and movement speed in the game is very satisfying. So if you are a 2D Street Fighter fan like me and you've never tried KI, I think you should definitely check it out, because a lot of the things that I love about the Street Fighter franchise carried over to KI. Plus it has this unique thing that you never see in any other game with the combo system and the combo breaker mechanics. So also it has amazing online, considering when this game came out, the online was really, really impressive in this game. So amazing game. Definitely check it out. There's still people playing online to this day, so it's definitely worth looking into KI. All right, next up, we're in the top 3 now. Things are getting really good now. I wanted to put Capcom versus SNK 2. So CVS 2 is just such a fun game if you like the Street Fighter style gameplay like I was just talking about. This is actually like almost more of a Street Fighter game than a lot of actual Street Fighter games. Like just the way that it rewards you for playing footsies, it rewards patience, it rewards smart meter management. Meter management is so crucial in this game. And the fact that it has this massive roster, every character feels very different, and they did such a fantastic job of incorporating these SNK characters into Capcom's sort of fighting playstyle. So I'm really blown away by how fun this game is. And even if like you feel like you've learned a lot of the game, you've learned a lot of characters, the groove system just changes everything. Learning like A groove versus C groove versus K groove, it just feels like a completely different game. So yeah, CVS 2 is another game where I feel like you can play it forever and never get bored. Now that it is on Fightcade, you can actually get some matches with rollback in as well. So really adore this game. Every time I see an arcade cab of this at a tournament, I camp it out and I just play for hours. So Capcom versus SNK 2, can't get enough of it. I'm putting it at number 3. All right, next up at number 2, a lot of you guys probably saw this pick coming. It's Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So I guess I didn't mention this, but I am limiting myself to 1 game per series. If I could just put every Street Fighter game on this list, they would probably make it, Street Fighter 4, Alpha 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I love all of those games, but for me, right now at least, Third Strike is the one that I like the most. Some of the things that I love about this game, the character variety is so crazy. The characters are so different from each other, and being able to select your different supers can sometimes make it feel like playing a different character. So not only do you have all the characters to pick, each one has 3 supers to choose from. Yes, a lot of the supers are kind of bad, but some of them are really cool, and even if it's, just for fun, you can have a ton of fun trying out all the different things this game has to offer. A common thing you may have noticed throughout my list is I really like games where you can play forever and not run out of things to like learn and things to practice, and this game is really the epitome of that. With the parry system, everything in this game has an answer. You're never in a helpless situation. It's just up to you. Do you have the skill and the execution and the reads to actually get yourself out of that situation? So that creates so many hype moments. I know that Third Strike is like legendary as a spectator game. It's one of the most fun games to watch, but as a player it can be so fun as well, because it's just like, if you can dream it, you can do it. There's so much freedom in this game, and you can really play your character the way you want. You're not sort of shoehorned into a specific play style with your character. You can play however you want and express yourself in the way that you play and the character and the super that you pick. So I love Third Strike. Again, this game is not balanced. Chun-Li and Yun are really broken, but the game is still incredible despite that, and it's still super fun, and you see people doing amazing things with even the bad characters in this game, which I think says a lot. People are willing to put in hundreds and hundreds of hours getting good with, know, Sean and Q and stuff. So yeah, the game has not gotten old for me, and I'm gonna keep playing it for a long time until you know, eventually Street Fighter 6 comes out. Maybe that'll unseat Street Fighter 3 Third Strike for my favorite Street Fighter game. But for now, we're going big here with Third Strike at number 2. All right, before we get to number 1, I just wanted to name some honorable mentions. You might be wondering, like, hey, why is this like obvious inclusion not on this list? So I just wanted to explain some of those. You may have noticed there is no NetherRealm game on the list, and this is just like personal preference. I don't really love the NetherRealm games. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think that they're good games. They just don't appeal to me that much. The controls are a little bit weird. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit of a Capcom fanboy. So going from that to, you know, the sort of dial-a combo system in this game and the block button and stuff is very weird for me. And also the graphics and the gore aspect and the visuals just really don't appeal to me at all either. So I think that the NetherRealm games are good, and especially the single player content is like best in class for the fighting game genre. It's just not my thing. You may also be wondering, hey, why no Soul Calibur? I love some of the Soul Calibur games. 1 and 2 were like super classics of my childhood. I think if I were gun to my head forced to name the best Soul Calibur game, I would probably say 2 in my personal opinion. But they just didn't quite make the cut. There are some problems, you know, similar to Tekken. Soul Calibur has always had very iffy online compared to a lot of games on the list, so I think that holds it back a lot. And just in general, I do prefer the gameplay of Tekken. It's just a little bit more like rich and rewarding to me. I think the Soul Calibur games are amazing. Maybe they would come in like 11, 12, 13 on my list, but we had to limit it to 10, guys. You may also be wondering, hey, where's Virtua Fighter? Virtua Fighter, you know, it seems like an amazing game. I just haven't put very much time into the series at all. The only one I've really played at all was the 5 re-release, Ultimate Showdown, is that what it was called? The 5 re-release that came out like 2 years ago or whatever. I played that version and I liked it a lot, but I just in general haven't put that much time into the VF series, so I just don't really feel qualified to talk about it in any kind of informed way. Seems like a great series, it's just we all have blind spots, and this is one of mine. And another one of my blind spots is Dead or Alive. I've pretty much never played Dead or Alive except like against the AI on Dreamcast as a kid. They seem like great games, they seem fun. It's just never really happened. It's just something that I just haven't really put any time into it. None of my friends play it, so I've never really felt inclined to wholeheartedly give DOA a try. Maybe when the next one comes out, if it has good online, I'll check it out. It seems like a fun game. It just nothing about it has really gotten me to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put a bunch of time in and get good at Dead or Alive. It's never really happened. So that's another one of my blind spots. But yeah, hopefully you guys understand that this list, you know, we all have games that we've played a lot and games that we just haven't gotten around to playing. So this list is going to be very biased based on my own personal experiences. But with that, what do you say we go into number 1 here? You guys probably saw this coming, but I'm going to go ahead and say my number 1 fighting game of all time is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's really incredible just how much fun there is to be wrung out of this 20-something-year-old game. You know, I feel like I could really just play this forever. I could even just play training mode forever, and I would probably never get bored. There's so many characters, over 50 characters. They feel very different from each other. You know, the difference between playing like Cable and playing like Magneto, they may as well be in different games. They don't play anything alike, and there are experiences that you can get playing this game that are unlike anything in any other game. No character plays like Sentinel in any other game. And many characters have tried to clone Magneto, but I don't really think any of them have done it. So the customization aspect, there's an infinite amount of depth there because you have 3 characters. Each character has 3 possible assists to select from. Even today, people are still finding new team combinations that are much stronger than anyone would have expected. We're finding new combos, new infinites. Yes, the game is very broken. Infinite combos and touch of deaths are a thing, but some of the old-fashioned mechanics in this, like Undizzy, do a decent job of controlling things and making it so that you can't die in one hit most of the time, unless you're against like Iron Man or unless you're against a character with like 5 meters. Generally, you're not going to be able to kill in one hit, and you do feel really rewarded when you do find these crazy overpowered things, you know, like BB Hood Juggernaut or something. Like you might feel like a genius that you came up with this combo that no one else is doing. You know, for example, me, everyone always says that Chun-Li is like really bad, so I was like, what if I put Chun-Li with Juggernaut Earthquake Assist? Will that work? And sure enough, it kind of works. Or like Zangief Everyone says Zangief is really bad, so I've been having a lot of fun just trying to find teams that make Zangief actually good. So there's so many ways to express yourself, so many ways to find the fun, and it really just never gets old to me. I've been playing this game off and on for like over a decade now, and absolutely loving it, even though I'm still trash. But that's part of what's fun about it, is that you can pick it up and have fun without being good at fighting games. I think everyone had that experience when this game was new. It was so popular with just everyday people back on the Dreamcast, just because the craziness of the game and the expression of the characters and how they sort of live up to your expectations of them based on the Marvel Comics or the other Capcom games is just really perfect. So it's a beautiful game. I love it. Even the music, I'll even allow the music and the weird stages. I even like those at this part. I'm so lost in the sauce with how much I love this game. So yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is gonna be my #1, but let me know down in the comments, guys. I'm sure there are probably some games that I forgot to talk about on this video, and let me know what they might be, and I'll respond to you down in the comments. And if you like this video, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already. But with that, that's gonna be the end of the list. Go ahead and let the roasting commence. Go ahead, hit me with it down in the chat, in the comments. I'm ready for it, okay? Don't hold back. All right, see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.